My name is Diana Hernandez, and I will be interviewing individual women today.
I am Amy Schmidt, 43 years old, originally from Michigan, and I now live in Iowa.
I'm Rainel Kabangu. I am 18 years old. I'm from DRC Congo, specifically from Lubumbashi, and that's where I was born.
My name is Nancy Abigail Avila. I am 33 years old. I was born in Chicago, Illinois, raised in Marshalltown, Iowa.
I'm Jimena Vélez. I am 23 years old. I born in Mexico, Puebla.
My name is Laura Millbrooks. I'm 53 years old. I'm from Marshalltown, Iowa, by way of Mississippi. My family was born in the foothills of Mississippi. My grandmother is a full-blooded Black Cherokee Indian.
My name is Angelina Ibarra Singh. I am 18 years old. I am from Marshalltown, Iowa, but my family is from Mexico.
My name is Jocelyn Marie Barbara Cortez Froa. Currently 40, not gonna say the rest of it, but really old. I am currently living in Colo, Iowa. I currently teach in Marshalltown, Iowa, but I'm originally from Seattle, Washington. I was born in Enumclaw, Washington, and my family is from Jalisco, Mexico.
What does being a woman mean to you?
That is such a tough question. It shouldn't be that hard, right? To be able to say, being a woman means I'm me? I don't know. I've thought about this question quite a bit as you guys gave us the questions ahead of time. And I'm still feeling like I don't have a full answer for that. For me, being a woman mostly means being strong. It has to be the basis of anything that defines me as a woman is strength, because you have to have so much emotional strength, so much psychological strength, and so much physical strength. I myself don't have children, but I think of the amount of power that a woman has to have in order to carry another human and then give birth. And I think that's what being a woman should be seen as, right? That's how I feel as a woman, as just sort of the epitome of strength.
I think being a woman is all about embracing your uniqueness, navigating through challenges, and being true to yourself.
How did you know you were a fully developed woman?
After I started my period, and a family member tried to touch me, actually. Yeah. And I realized that what he was trying to do obviously wasn't. I don't remember. Like when you said that, I'm like, oh my God, that just brought back that memory of being touched when I was 13 or 12. To this day, nobody knows. Growing up, I realized that there was a lot of us, by family members, it's usually by family members, but there's a lot of us that don't say nothing. That's when I knew that I was growing and I was becoming a woman, and they wanted to take that from me.
La verdad creo que el darte cuenta que eres una mujer totalmente desarrollada es diferente en cada una de las personas. En mi caso fue hasta que decidí salirme de mi casa y empecé a valerme por mí misma en el tema económico. Cuando empecé a trabajar, me salí de mi casa, empecé como a pagar como gastos personales fijos, una casa, una renta, comida, gasolina. En ese momento pues yo me sentí como una mujer completamente desarrollada, pero pues creo que cada persona es diferente, no hay como una edad específica para la que tú te sientas sentir totalmente desarrollada.
Do you think all women suffer the same?
Suffering is an interesting notion. I think that we all have trauma. Whether we feel our trauma response is higher or greater than someone else's is not really the important part. I think that the idea that we all have our trauma that relates to us in severity and in levels that is important to our soul and how we've been hurt or how we have to deal with things or how we have to be resilient is the thing that we need to stay in focus. Do women suffer? Yes, absolutely. I think that there is a generational and sexual and just an ideological thought that women are less than in society. But it's not true. And I think that as I've seen my years progress through the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and now the 2020s, I've seen a change in that. I feel like women are starting to gain momentum in the battle of equality. Are we there yet? Not by a long shot. Women are still oppressed, and I think that being a person of color who passes as white means that my oppression is different depending on the setting that I'm in. Is my struggle different than other women? It is. Because I pass as white, I can enter a room and not be targeted, but I'm still oppressed and still viewed as less than because I'm a woman. Now, if somebody knows my person of color background and my ethnicity and my race, then sometimes that struggle is more inherent in the room that I'm in the space that I take up. My voice is often squashed or put down or questioned. And then I begin to intrinsically question myself and devalue myself. And I have to remember that I stand on the backs of my ancestors. And I stand on the backs of the women that came before me. And I draw strength from them and their breath. It's kind of often why you'll see me with my hair braided. As an Indigenous woman, we believe that the past, the present, and the future ancestors are part of our hair and part of our identity, and we draw strength from that. So oftentimes when I'm asked to speak at a conference or I'm asked to speak in a large room where there might be somebody who will question my intelligence or question my being because I am an educated woman, I'll braid my hair and remember that and hold on to that as I speak.
I don't think all women suffer the same because there's different society views on women. You have to look a certain way, act a certain way, and if you don't, you get treated differently, and that's why I don't think all women are treated the same. And I think a lot it goes how you look. If you don't look a certain way, you won't get treated like other women who do look that certain way will get treated.
When you hear the word masculinity, what comes to mind?
Bricks. Men are like bricks. You know, when we first start doing building blocks, they tell you to do it in a T shape. It's like two at the bottom, then one in the middle. To me, that's masculinity because they're never really straight with you. They want you to balance them out, but then they still want to be stronger than you. But you need me. You need me to make you strong because that's how you build a wall. That's how you learn when you build blocks. But masculinity, to me, that's what it is. It's just like bricks. Bricks with no level. Bricks with not enough stability to make something or keep something built. That's what it means to me.
Ay, la verdad es una palabra muy, muy compleja. Creo que para una tiene un significado diferente, pero para mí son como los paradigmas de la sociedad. Cada mujer lo interpreta diferente, pero pues para mí, por las experiencias que yo he tenido a lo largo de mi vida, significa como, pues, cómo tenemos que ser nosotras para agradarle como a los hombres o para encajar dentro de una sociedad que es machista, la verdad. Entonces, pues para mí significa eso, como los paradigmas que tenemos que seguir a lo largo de nuestra vida.
What does a woman need to have to get power?
I have to quote Virginia Woolf, "A woman needs a room of her own."
Is a good heart.
True self.
someone on her side, someone that believes in her.
I think she should just be true to herself, do what she has to do. And if society doesn't accept it, that's on them.
A woman needs to have confidence and education.
As a woman of color, what struggles do you go through the most?
When we talk, a Black woman is full of passion. If you give her an inch, she'll take a mile. And we are seen as aggressive. We're seen as pushy. We're seen as think we're all knowing. But when you're born a Black woman, that's the first thing your mother tells you. It's certain stuff that you're gonna have to know. It's certain things you're gonna have to go really, really far just to be seen as a person. So as a Black woman, I've had people talk to me as if I didn't understand them, or I would never understand how they felt, or even what they meant. The worst experience I had, I went for a job, and I had dreadlocks in my hair. And I had waited like a whole 5 years before I got them. And when the guy seen me, he was standing in front of me. And the first thing he said after you asked my name, he said, "You know we do drug tests, right?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "Okay." And he kept on. But he kept saying it. He said it like 15 times. "You know we do drug tests." To the point of where he pissed me off. And I said, "I'll piss on you to let you know and see how clear it is. So you'll know just because I have these doesn't mean I smoke anything or I take anything."
How would you describe the role of being a white woman in today's society?
As a white woman, I have an immense amount of privilege. Not quite as much privilege as a white man, but quite a bit of privilege as a white woman. And my role as a white woman is to use my privilege in order to make spaces available to all of the women that I encounter. So anything that I can do, any way that I can use my power and my influence to make available spaces where women in our community, particularly in our Hispanic community here, what can I do as a white woman in order to make them feel more comfortable? My first instinct was learn Spanish. So as a white woman who is not bilingual, I know one language and little bits of sign language. The first thing I did when I moved into this community was recognize the fact that I have a privilege and I need to use that privilege to try to make myself more available to the people who don't have that privilege. And I'm, 2 years into learning Spanish and I can Spanglish my way through most conversations, but it helps me to help my students. And I, try to reach out to them and let them know that I am here. And I just daily recognize the privilege that I have and find ways that I can use that privilege to help others.
What advice would you give to younger girls?
I would advise them not to focus so much on how they look or on their appearance. I know sometimes it's important to feel pretty and to feel confident in yourself, which if dressing up makes you feel confident in yourself, do it if you want to. But don't worry so much to be considered pretty by the male perspective, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you look, it matters what you have inside. And someday you'll find someone who's able to value what it is that you have inside and not what you have on the outside.
Be you. Don't stop and let anybody tell you who you should be. If you need someone to talk to, there's someone out there that will listen. It doesn't have to be a family member, it doesn't have to be a friend, but there's people out there that are willing to help guide you and talk to you about it. There's no one that's they're gonna be told you're being bad, you're doing bad, this is not what you should be doing. That's not what you're expected to do certain things, but knowing that whatever you feel in your heart, that's your inner telling you what you need to be doing. Like if you want to do this, you go and do that, even if it seems impossible, even though it's like I can't, take that I can't out and just do it. Just do it. You'll be surprised how far you can get when you believe in yourself.
Do you think we need men?
Definitely not. I think in today's day, I think women are pretty much able to provide for their family.
I would be doing a disservice if I said to my 6 children, who are all men, that I don't need them in my life, because I do. They balance me. And I think that this walk of life, we were made a partner to somebody else. I feel very fond of the Greek philosophy that there is a coin in which 2 people were separated when that coin was split, and they need to find the halves of the coin to make them whole. Do I believe that we can have children without men? No, we need their sperm, let's be honest. And I'll be real with you. There's a balance, there's a harmony that comes with yin and yang. If there wasn't, there wouldn't be such a deep thought in harmony and balance and life balance, work balance. There is this sexual energy that happens when a yin and a yang get together. I think that we need each other in life, but we have to need each other and want each other equally.
What is feminism? Do you believe in it?
Sí creo en él. La verdad es que en México se acostumbra mucho como a realizar marchas para expresar lo que las mujeres están viviendo en mi país específicamente. La verdad, yo no soy partícipe de ese tipo de marchas. Yo creo que existen distintas formas de expresar pues, los sentimientos y lo que está pasando sin necesidad también de afectar a los demás.
Absolutely. I realize today some of our more radical feminist sisters have started making more exclusions on what it means to be a feminist or what it means to be a woman or all of those things. But feminism is the reason that we're doing this documentary today, that we're even able to. Because not so long ago, women couldn't buy property. Women couldn't own a home, women couldn't have a credit card. And feminism is the reason that we got some semblance of equality with our masculine counterparts. Feminism means that I believe that a woman is as valuable as a man, and that really any gender is as valuable as the other gender. There's no way that sex or gender either makes a person more or less valuable, and the idea that it does is so antiquated. It just needs to be obliterated. In practice, we haven't got there yet, but that's why I think we still need to understand ourselves as feminists, that we will continue to seek for power, and we are eventually going to smash the glass ceiling, right?
Did you grow up in a matriarchy or patriarchy?
I grew up with both. And I think that's the best thing I could ever want, because I get to have the best from both sides. I learned a lot from my dad and my mom as well.
I grew up with the matriarchy, and growing up with just a single mom, I think it really inspired me to be able to be half the woman that she is. Seeing all the struggles that she went through, seeing all the hard things that she was able to accomplish really inspires me to just be a wonderful woman like she is. And I am forever thankful to be able to have been able to grow up with a mother like her. And I think she is the true definition of what a woman is.
What values and morals are important for raising your children?
Honesty. And I don't mean that I want to know every little detail of their life, and they don't need to know every little detail of my life, but I think with my children, no matter what age I got them at, whether I was blessed to be able to give birth to them or if I was honored with them later on in life through different means, I think being honest with them and telling them that life is going to be difficult. that there are going to be struggles, that there are going to be joys and celebrations, there's going to be heartache, there's going to be trials and tribulations, and it's a series of choices, and it's a series of how you deal with those choices. I think being open and honest with them about the world in which they live in, and that the only thing that they can do is be the best possible version of themselves, to find a partner who's going to hold them up, not hold them down, and to have integrity and know that when nobody's looking, you're still the same person that you are when everybody's looking. If they can have that, if I have instilled anything in them, I hope it's that.
Not letting someone else tell you who you should be. Self-respect. Definitely, like, don't know your worth, and not let someone just come in and tell you who you should be.
Is education important to you?
Education is the number one most important thing for any woman.
It's not as important, but society has made it important.
Yes. You never stop learning, ever.
Sí, para mí es súper importante la educación.
Education has got me where I am today.
Education is important to me.
Yes, because of my parents who grew up in the 30s and 40s, and they barely had an education.
Did you continue your education?
The person that I want to be in the future regards me to pursue and finish my education and get the degree I want.
Of course. I continue my education every single day. Part of the reason I came, little mini story, I started right after my master's program. I was in publishing, and I did independent publishing, and then I ran my own publishing company. And I had been teaching adjunct for a little bit, like a couple classes here, a couple classes there, but mostly I'd gone full into independent publishing. I was very good at it. And I really enjoyed being able to create books for authors, and sort of that whole book world is really magnificent. But I kept finding myself missing education, missing learning. So there's not a lot of room for growth when you're making books. And I was like, man, I think I'm gonna go back to school. And then I was like, that's really expensive, right? So I got my master's degree, and I originally wanted to do my PhD, but it just turned out it was gonna be too much money. And so then I was like, I think I'm just gonna go full-time into teaching. And as soon as I made that decision, I realized that I was making a decision not only to do something that I honestly believe that I was born to do, but also that I was gonna be able to just keep learning forever. And so I find my students, they teach me new things every day. They write about topics that I would have never investigated before. They recommend books that I would have never read before. And I learn about human beings in the world, right? I'm one-on-one with humans every day. And I think that's one of our biggest sources of information, of knowledge, is the people we interact with and the things we learn from them.
Challenging about being a woman in your culture.
Yo creo que lo más difícil de ser mujer es que tratamos de encajar en un país que es machista y que no está abierto a aceptar que las mujeres somos igual de capaces que cada uno de ellos. No por ser niña vales más o vales menos. De igual forma con los hombres, no vales más por ser un hombre o vales menos. Creo que lo más difícil es aceptar que todos somos iguales, que tenemos las mismas habilidades y capacidades, y que pues todos estamos en aprendizaje, y que nunca vamos a dejar de aprender. Simplemente es confiar como en nosotros mismos.
I think the hardest thing about being a woman in my culture is that we do get sexualized a lot, and even at a young age, I was sexualized for being on the bigger side with my body, and it is hard, especially because it makes you grow up and see the world how it truly is from a young age, when it shouldn't be like that. Little girls shouldn't have to go through.
Were you ever discriminated against?
I went to a historical black college. We call them HBCU. And during our internship, we did an internship at a law firm. And it was me and a Caucasian girl from Texas A&M. And when I came in, they immediately thought I didn't know what I was doing. But for that whole 12 weeks, I learned to go to courthouse by myself. I knew when to file my paperwork. I knew what to do like clockwork. But at the end of them 12 weeks, they had a little award ceremony. Mind you, I was the only black girl there. They praised all of them. They did. They gave them gifts. They did everything. Oh, she was the best intern. She did this. Oh. I did it for all of them. They gave me more than they gave anybody. But every night I went in my room and I cried. And like I said, I went in my closet. I put my Superman suit on. But I swore to myself, you won't see me break. I'll go in this room and cry and have a hissy fit. But when I come out, I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna do what you asked me to do, and I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability. I'm gonna give it everything I got. But every day I went to that room, I cried. But they didn't see me.
I am a barber. And before I was a barber, I was a cosmetologist. Just me being in that industry was, you don't get taken as serious as a female. Like, oh, you're a boss, ha. Who's gonna listen to you because you're a female? Like, they don't see you in that level of being where you're at. I was always told no. And I took those, at first it hurt where it was just like, no, maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe this isn't what I should be doing. But that no was what led me to the second no. And that other no was like, oh, you're a girl. You can't work here. Like, this is a male only. It's like, okay, cool, you know, like whatever, I'm gonna settle and just go move. And at that point, I didn't realize that those no's were guiding me to something bigger and better, to where I'm at now. I would have settled and stayed there just because, and I would have been under a male, to where I said, okay, fine, you know, fuck you. I'm gonna show you I can. I'm gonna show you what a girl is capable of doing. And I'm gonna do it 10 times better. And that pushed me to where I'm at now, to where I own my own business. I am an inspiration to other females. They see me and it's like, oh my God, like, look at you. Like, they see me grow. Small town. I know a lot of people, and then it's like, I was a trouble girl. Like, I was always getting in trouble fighting, you know, and I'm just like, that's not who I am. But that was because I was fighting myself, trying to be who someone wanted to be, to where now I'm just like, this is who I am. This is what I want to be. This is what I do. And I love talking to females and pushing that, the moms that bring the kids, you know, they're like, oh, I love how I could never. It's like, yeah, because you have to have that confidence. You have to have the confidence in yourself. No one's going to be like, oh, look, here's confidence. No, like, you have to put your big girl panties on. You know what? I'm not that bitch. I'm her, you know, like, you just gotta, go and do it.
What is the most challenging thing about being a woman in your culture?
I think the hardest part about being a woman is having to realize that the world isn't such a nice place for women. You do get sexualized, you do get targeted for not fitting into how society wants you to be. And I think that's really hard for all women to go through and to realize, because it can really bring down your self-esteem and make you wonder why you get treated that way.
Just being a woman itself.
Just carrying
Just
it all.
carrying and being you, and not having to watch what you say. You just say what you want to say and feel how you want to feel.
How different would your life be if you were to have been born a male?
Qué buena pregunta, la verdad es que nunca me había preguntado eso, la verdad me encanta ser mujer. Creo que lo que más me emociona de ser una mujer es el poder crear a un ser humano dentro de ti. Creo que eso es algo que los hombres nunca van a entender. Creo que es una satisfacción inmensa. Entonces, la verdad es que nunca me he puesto a pensar por qué no me gustaría ser hombre. La verdad me encanta ser mujer. Entonces, pues no, nunca lo había pensado y me encanta ser mujer.
I'd be president of the United States by now. Not kidding. I mean, just the number of ways that I have had to struggle through my life because I'm a woman, without trying to sound too incredibly arrogant, I'm a very, very intelligent person, like extremely intelligent person. But the way that I grew up, the places that I grew up, and the advising I received as an undergraduate was that, you know, women should go into fields like this and like that. And when I decided that I started as a business major and I switched over to being an English major, out of my own choice, but my original plan was, you know, to run a publishing company. Long story short, I found out I'm much better as a teacher, but I was told that that's not a good job for a woman. Now, if I had been a man and said, I want to get an English degree and I want to start my own publishing company, the first thing they would have said was, yeah, you can rule the world. The other thing is, if I'd have been born a man, I'd have been born a white man. And in the United States, today, still, white men have the utmost privilege, right? There are assumptions made when you walk into a room. If you've got boobs, the assumptions are usually sexual in nature. And if you walk into a room and you don't have boobs, then those assumptions become part of your power, right? So yeah, I would have definitely become president of the United States, or at least governor, or something along those lines. I'm sure that I would have went into politics. But as a woman, so much of our opinions get pushed aside as hysteria, as being too emotional. And emotions are human, right? They're not just female. All humans have emotions. And the fact that we value people who push those emotions back is a huge part of why being born a woman makes life harder. We cannot hide our emotions as well, and we shouldn't, because that's where so much of our power lies.
Are women educated about their bodies?
I think it varies with different women. I think it ultimately comes to how you were raised. Because some were raised in some more conservative houses where it's seen as wrong to teach your daughter what's going to happen with their body. And some other women were raised in more, you know, free houses where like it's normal to talk about that. So I think that it varies with different women. But I think that every woman should be educated, or at least learn more about themselves and how their body works.
Physically, yes. They can tell you how to lift your eyes. They can tell you how not to have bags on your eyes. They can tell you how to shape your hips to where you can wear a size 3. But they can't tell you that most women have heart disease, that most women carry a lot of depression and stress after birth. They have nothing to help us. Like I say, you have commercials late at night talking about, if you're depressed, take this. But they never tell you how many pills do we have to take for our mental health, for our body's health, to stop having breast cancer and all this. If you have breast cancer, the first thing they want to do, we can give you some boobs, but can you give me my mental health to knowing that my body's, I gotta love it the way it is. I gotta love it for its flaws. I gotta love it for what's here and what's not there. Like I said, it's a double standard on TV. You teaching girls that, hey, You can wear these $300 shoes and you'll be beautiful. Every man will want you. But how you gonna buy them if you depressed and can't get up and go to work? Or your body's aching and you don't know why, and the doctors tell you they want to give you the simplest answer, and it's so much drama. You're stressing about nothing, and then you go home and you die because you got heart disease and they didn't catch it. But they can tell you, I can give you a BBL for under $5,000. No, we don't.
What would you say to your 8-year-old self?
To not second guess herself so much. That every time you think maybe you've gone too far, you haven't.
Don't rush into wanting to grow up really fast. Take the moment to enjoy with the people you love around.
I would hug her. I would hug her and tell her that we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be fine.
Yo le diría que siga sus sueños, que persiga cada una de las metas que tiene, que todo lo que se proponga.
I would also tell her that her father loved her mother tremendously till the day he died. In fact, I was with him the day he died, and he said he was going home to my mom, to Leona. And if I was 8 years old again, I would want to know that.
Just love yourself for who you are. Don't worry so much on what other people expect from you, and just do what makes you happy.
Hair is not everything, whether you have it or you don't. And I'm proud of you. And I love you.
I am a woman and I exist.
I am a woman and I exist.
I am a woman and I exist.
I'm a woman and I exist.
I am woman, I exist.
I am a woman and I exist.
I am a woman and I exist.
I'm a woman, I exist.
Together we roar!
Together.
Together.
Together. Together.
Together.
Together we roar!